Well, glad to have you join us on News Night. I am Andy Amogunawi. Have Jonathan Onoja, a security analyst. He's joining us in the studio to look at the disturbing news from Benue State, what the government should be doing now, the protest and all that. Glad to have you join us on News Night, Jonathan.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, the president's directive, what's your sense of it?
Well, I have not seen any actionable directives of Mr. President so far.
He just, even the people he directed are there on ground now.
Oh, well, sometime last week, so thereabout last week, we were told that the Chief of Army Staff has relocated to Benue State. And quite unfortunate that after that glaring, news, we are told again that there were attacks, and then the Chief of Army Staff was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And so, if there's a new directive, we should not just make this as a directive that comes as a form of...
Just to help your case, intelligence chiefs, the police, and the military have arrived in Benue State to direct security operations.
That the governor has also confirmed. But the question is, how long do we continue to give these directives? And how long? Recall in the last administration of His Excellency, former President Muhammad Buhari, told Nigerians that they should shoot in sight that wants to see any headers with AK-47. How many of these headers were shot on sight? Were they not seeing headers with AK-47? And so, Mr. President directives, as of today, I would not want to say it's wishy-washy, but I want to believe that this directive will meet up the yearnings of the people. These directives should not just be on document or paper. These directives should settle the problems, ensure that it gets targeted to the reoccurrence of insurgency in these areas. The families that have lost their loved ones that lost their loved ones in Iluwata a few days ago, 2 days ago, will not be talking about president directives. Why are we always reactive, and reactive in a negative light? We have never been proactive that Mr. President gives directives, so numbers of terrorists have been arrested, and then based on these directives, the area is safe, is cool and calm, people now go back to their farms. Why must we wait until people are killed until we begin to give new directives? What happened to the old directives?
Maybe I should then ask you this question. Directives have been given. Isn't this, you're a security expert, isn't this a fire brigade approach? One wonders, why can't the security agencies have a planned, organized way of handling this situation, spanning through the year over time? Is that possible?
Of course. If we actually desire to do that, it is simple that we can do that. Just like the same way the people responded, come to the streets today in Makurdi, starting from the Wurokun roundabout, and then say enough is enough. You see the way and manner our security agencies responded to gassing these peaceful protesters. And so if we can have that kind of response, emergency response, even seeing helicopters flying over in all the places, if we can have that emergency response mechanism to peaceful protesters, and then so what happened? That we cannot respond to people that comes to maim children in their sleep, kill people, displace people. Over 200 persons are killed in Benue State. And the only thing that we can do is to respond to protesters, peaceful protesters that are not carrying AK-47. And so these strategies, these formulations can actually work if the people, the traditional chiefs, the governor, the president decide to do what is right today. They can protect them. The same way they are able to stop those that are protesting, the same way they can also apprehend people that are also killing these people.
Now the president has asked earlier, the governor hasn't earlier, he's asking him to facilitate reconciliation. How should the governor be tackling this incident? And what do you make of the president's directive to the governor to facilitate reconciliation?
Of course, the president is right in that because the governor is the chief security officer of the state. The governor is the one on ground. The governor knows about the areas. He knows much of his problems. Of course, you have heard the governor told you that the people, those sponsoring these are politicians from the federal capital territory.
I was coming to that.
And so if the governor knows all of these things, the president making him to understand that you may not be able to go kinetic often, you may have to bring ADR, alternative dispute resolutions, in your approach to some of the problems. So the president seems to be ahead as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Unfortunately, he also has failed in his own responsibility to make the governor see that his directives or his questions or his commands towards him is not being followed the way he ought to be followed. Now, let me give you this example. If you employ a private security guard in your house and that private guard messed up, you call the company, right? When you call the company, it is a duty of either the operations manager or the manager or whichever way, the line manager, to come and interrogate that operatives. And in an event of any crime or pilferings, you call on that operative to give account, because the operative is one that is physically on ground to manage, to guide, to protect those things. So the president who is in the federal capital territory will not be there in Benue State to know what is happening, except the governor who comes to him to come and collect the security votes of the state on a monthly basis. So if he's telling the governor to do what is expected of him to do, it then means that he's charging the governor up to wake up to his responsibilities. Unfortunately, sadly, the governor has failed. Continue to blame different people for the cause of insecurity. The only person he has not blamed is the God that created him. There's nobody he has not blamed for his ineptitude, for his inability to tackle headlong what is happening. Tell me, I give you an example. All the formations in those areas, apart from the helicopter that is hovering around the state today, and the armor tank that is placed there, that is mounted there to displace peaceful protesters, we have never seen any facilities, any tactical equipment in Benue State. Now, when you ask the governor, give account of what you're using the security votes to do, why not mobilize the locals that understands the nitty-gritty of what is happening to tackle these issues? Why not mobilize the police that is on ground? Go to all the formations in the state. You have your correspondents in Benue State. You will imagine the way and manner that the governor has taken insecurity as nothing to him. Nobody's been mobilized.
The protests that were organized by by people from that area underscores the worsening security situation in that place. But then there is the question of, I think the president also talked about it, which you have mentioned here, unguarded utterances from people who should know. The governor blames the politicians in Abuja. The politicians in Abuja says the governor is not protecting the lives of citizens. Where is the place of leadership in words that are spoken by people who should know, provoking, these insecurity challenges that the state is having?
Well, I also have my reservations, right? Because the governor from inception has created a lot of problems by himself. Enmities in the political, even within the APC, which I don't want to talk about. I am not a politician, but even within the APC in the state, he has created enmity. A lot of factional groups coming up. You see, I give you an example. The governor who has the capacity to mobilize, who has the capacity to fight so long to ensure that the Benue State local government chairman election that was challenged by the factional APC is given to him the way it was. So if the governor can also put that same energy, channel that energy in reconciliation, channel that energy in ensuring that the safety of properties and life of the people, there won't be a problem. So it is about, where the governor has placed priority. Now this governor, if ordinarily in a sane environment, in a sane society, all that happened even in Yelwata exists within the local government chairman, within the State House of Assembly, within the House of Assembly, within the senatorial district of somebody. And so that is where the responsibilities and leadership comes in. All of those people that I mentioned have one responsibility or the other.
All right, Jonathan.
But then they failed.
Very quickly, and then we let go. The Nigerian Army just inducted 6,195 soldiers. How far can this go in calling the worsening security institution?
The Nigerian Army has their own responsibilities. And if we must get the issues of insecurity tackled in this country, then we must begin to align it with the responsibilities of those that are saddled with the primary responsibilities of protection of life and properties. And that is by the internal security, which is the police. So the police must wake up to their responsibility, because over-militarization of even the state in terms of security is also another aspect of insecurity that is looming in the days to come.
All right, we'll leave it there. Over-militarization, another form of insecurity in the days to come. Jonathan Onoja, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.